Hello, everyone, and welcome to League Review. I'm your host, William, and today we are talking about the LEC. Week 2 is going to be quite interesting. Let's do a recap real quick of our last week's predictions. Week 1 was by far our best region outside of China, but for last week's games compared to NA, where we went 5-5, and Brazil, where we went 2-6. Can't wait till tomorrow to talk about that. Jesus. And the other wild cards that are starting this week, they'll be tomorrow, though. But yeah, EU went very well this week. I think that the only two losses we had were we picked Vitality over SK in game 2, which was kind of a toss-up between two bottom-tier teams, which is always some of the hardest stuff to pick. And then we had a Excel versus SO4, and I thought that one was actually a decent upset. It wasn't like a super upset, but it was an upset nonetheless, in my opinion. There, where the rest we had G2 beat Mad Lions, Rogue beat Misfits, Origin crushed Fnatic, which was pretty nice. That was the prediction I flip flopped on at the last second, thanks to just talking about power rankings. Mad over Vitality, Rogue over Excel, Origin over SO4. Fnatic over Misfits, and G2 over SK. So let's go into our. This is our predictions overview so far. So we are currently 8-2, just like we said before. And let's go into match review. But just give me a half second here to bring up the match histories, which I probably should have done before the podcast, but you know how it goes. Spring 2020. But yes. Nope, did not work. Okay, that's cool. LEC. Let's just go to match history. You'll get to see me pull them. Okay, so week 1 we had our first game of G2 versus Mad, which was actually started a lot in Mad's favor. Like, Mad started out very strong. G2 kind of entered the early game, which we've come to expect from time to time. Like, it does happen where Mad actually started out with the kill up top, the first blood on Wonder, and then immediately they got the kill on bot as well on Mickey, and then they got another kill on Yankos, and then they got another kill on Mickey, and then they got Dragon, and then they got another kill on Wonder, and then they got Rift Herald, and you're like, oh my god, welcome to 2020, G2. Like, what is going on? And it didn't have anything to do with the role swap between Perks and Caps, because if you look here, they only died combined one time. The rest of the team was really hard ending, dropping all the way down to a 4k gold lead for Mad by the 14-minute mark, which is absurd. They had essentially two towers, a Rift Herald, and two dragons, and then after that, like that dragon was punished, and they did end up getting 2 kills outside of that for on G2 side, and then G2 kind of woke up. They were able to take a tower. They took the Rift Herald, got another dragon and towers, and as you can see, they're pretty much winning. There's a few picks every now and then, especially on like Mickey kept going in, and like man, his team was not backing him up. That feels bad on the Nautilus ults when you all are not necessarily. Well, you guys see ult as well, but when you queue in and then you go, and then the rest of your team kind of backs off, you're like, well, I'm dead now. Thanks a lot, guys. I want to talk about I'm gonna call him Crazy. I think it's Carzy. I think it's Carzy, but end up calling him Crazy a lot. Carzy actually played really well. I was actually really looking forward to seeing how he was gonna play. What did actually surprise me is just how bad Humanoid played this game. While all that was going on, Humanoid was doing kind of nothing. He was against Perks, to be fair. Man, if you look, he went 2-8 on Mordekaiser, and he only had, let me believe, he had 13k damage. Okay, I thought he was towards his bottom. I thought Ornn out damaged him, but it was ugly. Like he was the one dying right away in every team fight. He really wasn't doing much at all. As you can tell, he only has 2 kills, 2 assists. He barely had any kill participation. Well, the rest of the team was not doing too bad. And then obviously here you have a big team fight win for G2. They take they take the Dragon to have their second Infernal, and then they also had a Baron on top of that. And from that point on, the game was pretty much over. And G2 started out 1-0. Caps actually went 9-0-12 on his debut as ADC, which means our eyes on is not a curse. Like, almost every single player except for BRTT in Brazil, played very well after we gave him an eyes on week 1. So I'm very happy with that. But yeah, the rest of Mad, they played very aggressive, which is very interesting because Mad is former Splice. We'll say that a few more times throughout the split before we have to stop saying that. But so they were very slow team, very very slow team. Humanoid's the only one left from that squad. 4 fresh faces. Yeah. Fresh coach, so they actually play very fast paced now, which is very funny to me. Like I always went into a Splice game thinking, oh god, this is a snooze fest, like kind of like Immortals or TSM, and no, now they're pretty fast paced. And I wanted the Shadow. Shadow actually played really really well this game. I look forward to watching him play more. Let me pull up the rest of the match histories. Oops, that's not what I wanted. The rest of them super quick, just so I don't have to keep coming back to this page. Oof. I also promise this one probably won't be 2 hours like last night's podcast. But I actually really liked last night's podcast. I think we went into a lot of detail, and we actually described a lot of stuff really well. I was really happy with that. Go check it out if you did not and you like NA. Game number 2 was Vitality versus SK, and man, SK was popping off this game, and then Vitality started like, I was like, okay, they're gonna do it. Vitality has this really good team fighting comp, and then it just didn't work because honestly, Limit, it's this damn Braum, man. This damn Braum pick is so nasty into Misfortune Cassiopeia. Like, Crown Shot just was able to hide. Crown Shot, wow, Genix did not have a single kill. How much damage did he have? Yeah, he had the most damage in the game without a single kill. I'm like, I could have swore he was popping off just as bad as Crown Shot. But I guess he was damage-wise, but talk about your team stealing your kills. Jesus Christ. 34k damage and 0 kills to show for it? Man, that feels bad. But, yeah, the beginning of this game, SK started out strong. They did give up an early dragon, but they were able to take it back. They got a Rift Herald, and as you can see, they were winning these sprinkles of fights here, getting towers. They were rotating well. Everything was going good. Funny enough, Trick, who actually ended up with 6.8k damage, I believe at the 34-minute mark, if I remember correctly, had 200 damage. Like 232 damage or something insane like that. So he was just kind of like farming and not doing too much. This game also took 50 minutes, by the way. But there wasn't a whole lot going on. But then Vitality was able to take the Baron. I love the Misfortune Leona into Aphelios. I think it works very strong. The issue is Braum is a hard counter into Misfortune and Cassiopeia. So it's like, man, that kind of counters the counter type scenario. But yeah, Comp is also a new ADC that I was really looking forward to seeing, and he played pretty well this game. I was pretty happy with that as well. The rest of Vitality, Kabushar did not have a great day. Skeens, not so much either. But yeah, as you can see, they took a Baron here, and it was good, and then they lost a Baron, but like they were still good. And then they gave up an Elder Drake. But they were able to get 3 kills, so I'm like, it's not the end of the world. Usually, Elder Drake, in my opinion, is the end of the world. And what have I guess this one's okay. This one, they took a Mountain Soul. No, I'm going to flame him for it. I'm going to flame him. I'm still, I feel like one of the few people that say, Dragon Souls, unless they're Ocean, depends on your team comp for Cloud, are irrelevant. Like they're in scenarios like this where like what does a Mountain Soul really give to it? Gives you a shield, sure, it gives you a shield. But at this point in the game when you took it, you were up, I guess they were only up 2k gold, but they did trade the Baron for it. So let's go back here. But you have Baron, you kind of had full control. Now this one's more of a stretch than usual. Usually I'll flame teams if they're up 8k gold and they take the mountains or the like Mountain or Infernal Soul. I don't like that at all. But let's just say this one's a little bit on the edge, and I'm just gonna flame it more so because it's a Mountain Soul and it's usually really good for tanks. You have Leona, who's kind of tanky, not really. She's tanky for the how many seconds does Gargoyle last? I should probably know that as a Leona main. For 4 seconds, yeah. She's really tanky for 4 whole seconds, and then her W goes down, Aftershock goes down, and Gargoyle Stoneplate goes down, and then she pops like a balloon. She's super squishy after those 4 seconds. So Mountain Soul helps her, but not too much. Mountain Soul does not really help Misfortune, does not really help Cassiopeia, does not really help Lee Sin, and does not really help Aatrox all them. I mean, Aatrox a little bit more so than the other ones, but not terrible. You don't take that, all of a sudden these Elder Drake win conditions are no longer on SK's side. The issue I have with this is that when you let an Elder Drake come onto the Rift, if the enemy team takes that Elder Drake, they win the game. So if you're in full control of the game, you don't want to give the enemy an opportunity to have a certain objective on the team to automatically win when you can win the game without that objective already. That's my kind of point of view of it. If you could close out the game nice and easy, no problem, which I think they could with a Misfortune, Leona, and Cassiopeia. I think that you could absolutely close that game out. And don't take the dragon. Just let the enemy team take the dragons. So then it just keeps delaying Elder Drake over and over. So then that if that buff never gets online, now maybe you can argue if the enemy has 2 drakes, which they did, which you can argue you don't want them to get to the 3rd, so then it's a really big team fight over the 3rd, and then who gets the soul then. But I don't know. It's just, in my opinion, it's mostly in the 8K gold leads that I have problems with this, because if you have an 8K gold lead, you can close no matter what. It does not matter. Just take Baron. You can fight, do the objective around Baron, fight that, because you'll win the fight around Baron most likely, as long as you ward it properly, and then win the game through standard means of how you're used to. Where this one, I'll give it up. I'll give it up on this one. They could take the soul. That's fine. But the 8K gold leads are the ones I have problems with, because you're up 8K, you're gonna win that game 9 times out of 10. You throw an Elder Drake in there that spawns. Sure, you're going to win the game no matter what when you get that Elder Drake. But the enemy team all of a sudden is now... I consider Elder Drake to almost be like a 10k gold buff. It feels like. It's what it feels like in team fights. If it literally just makes it instant execute on any squishy, like any squishy just dies from one poke, your tanks are now considered squishies, because they could... they just instant die. It's 20%. You take essentially 20% HP off of every single enemy on the fight, and like damage over time abilities are super strong with it. Any type of burn, because then even if the enemy runs away, they still get executed. And yeah. So don't take the souls if you're way far ahead. I'll give this one to Vitality. That's fine. But it's my warning to every other team. It sounds crazy. I know it sounds super crazy, because the souls are quite OP, especially Ocean. Ocean is one that you take no matter what. No matter what. It's the best soul in the game, by far. But Infernal, Mountain, and sometimes Cloud, if you're really far ahead, don't take the soul. Don't give the enemy team a huge opportunity to get right back into the game. As you can see, SK there took 2 Elder buffs, won the game. Like, because you just win team fights immediately when you get the Elder buff. As long as no one died in the process of stealing it. Or even if just one person. Even if just your jungler dies, you can probably still win a 4v5 with it. Alright, let's move on. Rogue versus Misfits. I think that this game was very good to see from Rogue. I had Rogue in my power rankings at number 3, and I thought that, maybe I'm buying a little too much into the hype with like the initial. They did get a kill originally on the bot lane, and then they did give up the dragon. But after that, they gave up dragons here at the early game. But we're actually starting to notice a pattern with teams giving up the first 2 dragons and then taking Rift Herald and towers and trying to build lane leads, and then just bullying people out of the dragon pit from that point on, which we saw. They took the next 4 dragons, which are all oceans, this is a game where I absolutely believe you take the soul, because you get 4 oceans, you're sitting at 12% regen, and then you get the regen in combat and regen outside of combat, and it's just a gross soul. It's a stronger soul by a large margin. But yeah, Hansama and Vander just super impressed me. Larson as well was disgusting on the Kiana. Like everything that was kind of question marks for Rogue went to good, like plus, like kind of like Dignitas, a younger version where like Dignitas there was a lot of question marks because they were old. The Rogue was a lot of question marks because they were super new and they performed really well at the end of the split last year, but we didn't know if they were going to put it together. Like all this hype is being built on. I even have, like I said, third in my power rankings from week one. There's a lot of hype on this team because of how good they looked towards the end of last split, but we didn't know if that was going to transition to spring until now. And seeing them beat Misfits, I know Misfits is by far the worst team in the LEC. This is like the Golden Guardians of NA, but like it was still nice to see. It was still nice to see just how dominant they were able to perform. Excel versus SO4. This was the first game that quite surprised me because like Vitality game was back and forth, 50-minute game between two teams. Like those type of games happen. You're not. It's very hard to go 10-0 on best of ones for sure. like you have a lot of just coin flip games. This game was where Torre, man, he was so close to being my player of the week for sure because Torre, formerly Norscaran, just absolutely popped off on the Braum in this game. Like, this game alone made me want to put him as player of the week. Where, as you can see, SO4 actually has the lead for pretty much this entire game. They give it up right here for 100 gold. But, like, man, this game, it all came down to just executing team fights. This one, instead of Braum blocking Misfortunal in Cassiopeia, he was blocking Xayah. Xayah's, like, feathers. I don't believe Xayah's feathers go through Braum Shield. I might be talking on my ass. I don't play either of those champions, but I don't think they actually go through Braum Shield. So we stopped. I'm gonna say it. You can call me out on it later, but I'm gonna say it for story wise. He was blocking the Xayah feather, so they automatically lose their damage and a form of CC that they have on the team. Patrick, it blocks Cassiopeia from really being able to get anywhere with her stuff. And it blocks Ornn ult, so Ornn ult blocks all the CC. And you basically just are essentially in front of Nautilus as well. So this was allowing Patrick to just free fire. Like, he just straight up every single one of these team fights here and here, like, as in, there's like two of them. But there's two major team fights. Very, very important team fights where they lost the soul here. They could have had Cloud Soul, but they did lose it here. And they got 2 kills instantly onto the bot lane, and then they killed Cassiopeia. So then, all of a sudden, even though they were down 5k gold, like that was a big, big win. And then there was a team fight right here in this bush, as you can see these kills here, where pretty much Torre blocked everything. He just went up, blocked it, and while that was happening, Gilius went on to Patrick because Dreams ulted Patrick with the Nautilus ult, and then Gilius went on to him as Jarvan. But, like, what time was that in the game? About 38 minutes? Yeah, 39-minute mark or so. At the 39-minute mark, Varus has full build. Like, he was a full build Varus. So, if this is where the issue came in. If you have no more CC, because Ornn tried to ult and knock up Varus, which would have helped a lot, blocked by Braum ult. Xayah tried to throw feathers in there, blocked by Braum Shield. Cassiopeia tried to get in there with like her like grounded and like making sure Varus can't flash out of the pit and anything. Couldn't do any damage. So then instantly Gilius dies, and then the rest of the team, Varus gets the increased attack speed from his passive from killing a champion, and he just unloaded on the rest of the team there. Mickey and Kadril also had a nice combo for once, because Mickey, outside of that, he did not have a very good game. The thing about Excel here, which is why I had them so low, is they've replaced their bot lane with Patrick and Torre, which looks phenomenal so far. The rest of the team is still the same, and they still kind of look the low tier that they were before. Hopefully they improve, but they did not look hot in this game. Let's just say that. The Mickey did have a really good flank here as well, and a few wind walls. But outside of that, he pretty much did nothing on Yasuo. But he did 12k damage on Yasuo. Like, Ornn did more damage than you. And your jungler, who's like level 15, did more damage than you. Yeah, that's actually, spoiler alert, that's going to be Play of the Week. I have to actually go get it. I did not get it before podcast, but we will talk about that for Play of the Week for sure. Game number 4? We can game number 4? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No. Game number 5? Yeah. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep, game number 5. There we go. Game number 5 was Origin versus Fnatic. Origin, as we don't have a graph here because the client doesn't want you to show how badly Origin destroyed Fnatic. We saw our first Swain. If you've watched any other podcast, you know that I think Swain might be one of the low-key most broken champions in the game right now. I think he can be played top, mid, support, and ADC all very easily without being punished in any of the lanes. He was punished in this game. Actually, Gangplank is a really hard matchup for Swain because he kind of just eats the orange, and what you gonna do? You got nothing. Whippo also played very poorly. He played. This was one of those Whippo games where they happen a little more often than I think Fnatic and Fnatic fans would like. Is that he pops off on a lot of games, but then there's the other games where he goes way too aggressive and kind of gets caught out in no man's land multiple times. We also saw Nemesis play Diana. I think we talked about Diana yesterday, and like Doinby has played Diana. Who played it yesterday? I don't remember. But there's been multiple people that have played it, and it has not popped off once yet in any pro league. And it's kind of because Diana's a very heavy snowball champion, where like she's either going to just destroy everyone if she gets a few kills early, or she's kind of going to do nothing for the whole game. And she's just a worse version of LeBlanc because she can't really get out. She gets the big burst, like, to go in, but she can't get out of it. Like LeBlanc can with it. Just another W. Press the W. Upset as well. Performing on Xayah was phenomenal. And Destiny really performed well his first game. That's how an Oceania player can show up, formerly from Mammoth last split. And I think Ryoma kind of struggled on 100 Thieves a bit, but Destiny, he showed that Oceania players can stick around. That just means NA's a better league, right, guys? No. Destiny's he just had a really good game and a really good ADC to follow up. And we can't forget about Alfari just 2v1ing in the top lane here. I know you can't see it, but there was just 2 deaths towards the end, like where Alfari just completely popped off. NA sucks, Idol. How are you doing, by the way, Idol? And I know. Have you seen the thumbnails to the podcast on the on YouTube? Like me and Ryan were talking about it yesterday. NA has just become our meme. We just have to fill as many memes on the title card essentially, or the thumbnail as possible, because it's kind of how NA is. The other ones are like all kind of like serious and stuff. Not that one. All right. Vitality versus Mad was pretty much, I mean, how do I want to put this? Vitality's not a strong team. Let's start with that. Capuchard had a very bad week, actually. He had back-to-back bad games. And Humanoid didn't even pop off that well, but Carzzy did pretty good. Like Idol just said, just say it. They suck. Yeah, Vitality. I like Comp a lot personally. I think that he's kind of in the very bad position where if you're the only good player on your team and you're ADC, you are kind of screwed. Like, I know like top lane's irrelevant to everything, but like ADC is also a scenario where you, for the most part, cannot win a game on your own unless you're playing something maybe like Vayne or something and you're like 20 kills. But but it's very hard to win a game as ADC when the rest of the enemy team is super fed, because then they just all pile on you and just instant kill you. And your team's so weak that they can't stop the enemy team from doing that. Didn't happen too much in this game, but for the most part, outside of Comp, the rest of Vitality's looking very weak. Skeens got 5 kills this game, which kind of wish he hadn't. Like, see, he's got a kill on Humanoid if that one goes over to second. Like, you got a kill here if you just give that to Cabochard. Another kill. It was like, I don't like to see Rek'Sai get many kills because Rek'Sai falls off really hard. Especially compared to Cassiopeia and Rumble. Cassiopeia and Rumble are very good late game champions. They just have so much damage and burn that even Varus, like, you have a good team comp here with Braum in the front line, and then you just have a lot of burn and a lot of quick, just like, you melt people with this team comp. Like, Varus melts tanks, Cassiopeia melts everyone, Rumble melts everyone with his ult and his Q, technically. But yeah, like, so Jarvan and Mordecai, like, there is no super hard engage outside of a Zoe bubble here or a Rakan W into ult, and you can avoid that. Like, if you get Rakan W and ulted, Miss Fortune's going to ult off that. You just Braum shield it, and you should be good. They weren't. As you can see, they essentially just lost 2 massive team fights and then lost every objective known to man right after those team fights. They gave up Ocean, which was an Ocean Soul, which is automatic GG. You got an Ocean, got 4 kills for none, got Baron, got 4 kills for 3 towers and an inhib for just 2 kills. Got another inhib, got the Ocean Soul, got 2 more towers, got another inhib, got the Baron, got 2 more inhibs, and then you just won the game. Like, there wasn't anything you were going to do about that. Yeah, I don't know. It's Vitality's a really bad team. I got them pretty low in the standings. In the power rankings, you'll see coming up. Next is Rogue versus Excel, and Excel coming off the win against SO4. No hard engage, Rakan and Jarvan. Okay, yes, they had Rakan and Jarvan, but my theory on that was that if Rakan and Jarvan go in, they're gonna die in roughly 1 second because Rumble's gonna ult into the Jarvan ult, and Varus and Cassiopeia are just gonna ground them right as they jump in, so then they're just dead. That's what I meant. I worded it very poorly. I understand that, but I just meant that your hard engage dies in like 1 second going into this team comp. Which it didn't, but that's what it should happen, in my opinion. So, but it didn't, so, you know. Next game was Rogue versus Excel. Excel coming off the upset. Mickey was on the Pantheon. This was this the one? No, I believe that might have been China. Someone played, that was Scout, I believe, played the most, useless Pantheon I've ever seen in my life. I'm sorry if it's not Scout, but someone in LPL played like the worst Pantheon I've ever seen. And they did like 500 damage total. But yeah, Excel, they played Aphelios again. Again, Aphelios is just okay in pro play. Senna is so much more busted. Both are getting nerfed, thank God. Especially Senna, because Senna, I'm going to be honest, kind of boring to watch. I love Senna. I think I need to play more Senna. I've only played her like 2 or 3 times. Absolutely loved her. I think that for the most part, you can either go tank Senna and heal as a support, or just pure damage. It looks like pure damage is mostly the way to go, I think, with lethality. My only concern with the lethality build in this game would have been if you had to go against Ornn, and he's very tanky, but you made it good use of that with Vlad and Mordekaiser just kind of sweeping up on the AP side. So Ornn had the build, as you could tell, the Abyssal Mask first. I don't necessarily like the Iceborne from Ornn compared to a Sunfire, especially because, like, who are you trying to slow? I get you can't slow Olaf. In a 1v1 matchup with if you're up next to Mordekaiser, you're losing that anyway. I guess you're trying to slow. Tom Kench gets slowed by eating people now. You're not going to be in range of Senna. Maybe Vlad? I don't know. It's an odd choice to me. Let's just say it's an odd choice. But yeah, Mickey and Mickey Cadrell did the Talia Pantheon, which I do like. I think that can work really well. And I think that it didn't work this game because I don't think this is a good game for Talia Pantheon. Palia. Maybe that's the team count name. It works well against Mordekaiser, which I like. It doesn't work well into Vladimir because he's just going to pull the second you do the W from what's his name? Or the flip or the W for the stun on Pantheon. He's just going to pull away. You're never going to catch up to Hansama, and if you do, he's going to get eaten by Tom Kench. And Olaf is just immune to CC. So the instant kill is not there, and if you don't get instant kills with that very early on, which I don't remember, did they? They got 2 kills, but not that. No, they didn't. But yeah, this game was all about Rogue winning at the Baron fight. That Baron fight was pretty big for them. Got those kills, instantly win with the Baron, and then they did not take the soul there, but they got the 3rd dragon, and then once the 24-minute hit, Pantheon falls off really hard. Vlad does not fall off. He does the exact opposite of what you would call fall off. So all of a sudden you have this massive difference, and you just have a difference in skill, in my opinion, between Larson and Mickey. It's already Larson's favor by a large margin. And then you had Finn on the Mordekaiser just taunted people up top. That was hilarious, like right up there. And yeah, pretty much a GG all around. What were you saying, Ryan here? Jap brought up an Athene's build on Senna when you have another AD carry like Jackson team, Mermana and Black Cleave there, and into Athene's. Yeah, that's actually pretty smart because if you build a lethality build and you have full AD, I can attest to this where my one friend Keegan we've been duo queuing on my main and stuff, and he really wanted to play Senna before she gets nerfed because she's just super broken right now. And 3 games in a row, our entire team picked AD, like mid lane. I think we had a Talon, Yasuo in the mid lane, and then like our jungler also went AD and our top laner. So we were like, I had to play Swain support 3 games in a row. We won all 3, weirdly enough, but he was so upset because you can't go Senna if you're a very AD heavy comp because you build the lethality because the crit build's not too great on her, in my opinion. And like, so you're kind of screwed. If the enemy team's just building full armor, you're going to do literally nothing. Yeah, only Senna is, yeah, because Senna support's not going to afford shit. All right, 3 more. We have SO4 losing to Origin, which was very expected because Origin looked disgustingly good this weekend. Like 7-0 and 7-0-4 for upset on the Senna again. Again, very boring. I get it. Nuke Duck popped off on that LeBlanc, and Abadange did not do great on the Rise. I think we saw one of these games in NA where the LeBlanc kind of popped off, where Rise kind of went to side lanes, which is fair, but outside of that, like, they didn't do much for the team. I'm like, hiccups now, jeez, sorry. But yeah, Forgiven he hasn't played bad. He came back and he honestly has not played too bad. Gilius hasn't played great. Oops, sorry. Oh, I'm going to have these hiccups for the rest of the podcast. That's going to be bad. But, yeah, this is 100 Thieves versus EG. Thank you. That was a LeBlanc versus Rise. But, yeah, we had Nuke Duck with the Magi's. You had Upset just going 7-0-4, just popping up. You've seen a lot of Sennas do high damage. Like, this is a perfect game for Senna. There's not really any tank here outside of Braum. Like, you're just gonna shred through people with that lethality build. As you can see, Origin had the lead the entire game, except for right there. They were down by 300 gold right there. But outside of that, like, look, 11k damage on SO4 compared to 18k, 15k, 8. Like, Gragas only did 3k less damage than every other member on the team. It just wasn't a good game from SO4 again. And they started out 0-2, which they were kind of the benchmark. I can't give them too much negativity for this one, but the Excel loss is probably not where they want to be. Starting out 0-2 because of that loss to Excel was very, very rough. Is C9 the NA Origin? Yeah, kind of. I would agree with that. I think they're a solid organization last split. Solid organization. They kind of struggled a little bit. I guess C9 didn't really struggle. They kind of reversed it, where Origin went all the way to finals and got destroyed in spring and then kind of sucked in summer a lot. C9 kind of sucked in spring a little bit, but they still made playoffs and made it to the semifinals, I believe. And then they're kind of a lot stronger in the summer, and then kind of fell off towards the end of summer though, and just similar to Origin, and didn't fall off towards the end, as in they fell off at Worlds, and I guess from losing Team Liquid in a Game 5, but that's not. I wouldn't call that a fall off. This split, you mean? Yeah, they both looked super dominant, and it's gonna be yes, they are, because they both look probably like the best teams. And spoiler alert for power rankings, they're both not ranked number one on either of them, because the team that is number one still has the respect that they'll kind of get it together. Though I mean, G2's 2-0. But this game, Fnatic, well, there's no need to talk too much about it. Just Misfits is a terrible team. You think Vitality's a bad team? Misfits even worse. Dan on the did not know how to play Nocturne top very well. He did get kind of ganked by Selfmade as well. But 0-6 is usually unacceptable in any scenario. And that was hilarious by Vedius as well. Like when he came in, and it was just describing how Nocturne top is legit. I believe him. I faced Nocturne top. It goes okay in the Cho'Gath. I kind of win a lot. I've never lost to a Nocturne top as Cho'Gath. Like the spell shield's slightly annoying, but people really underestimate dueling Cho'Gath 1v1 early with his spikes and grasp of the Undying. If you go in the tank build like I do. But yeah, for the most part, I can see the potential there. I've always seen the potential in laning Nocturne. I personally think mid Nocturne is probably better because you have more lanes to roam. But it didn't work this game. It didn't work. It was also, they're very highly outmatched on every single position in this game. So anything Misfits does is going to probably look bad. You know what I mean? Like, that's the unfortunate thing. They could come out with the coolest, like, best cheese in the game. Like, very fancy. Like, if they pulled Swain Yumi out, like I'm telling you guys, it's the best thing in the world. Especially with Yumi getting her damage buffs back. Not as bad as before, but just, it's not a little tickle anymore. And I wish the slow came back with it, because the slow is the most important part that we lost. But yeah, if they came up with cheese like that, it would probably look bad, because they would probably still lose. Because their top's going to lose, their jungle's going to lose, their mid's going to lose, and their ADC and bot are going to lose almost every single matchup. But yeah, clean win by Fnatic. Good recovery, because they did get kind of crushed to Origin in the first game. So it was nice to see at least they could bounce back, even though it's against a much worse opponent. And finally, we had G2 versus SK. G2 just 23-8, not even close against SK. This was kind of more like... this is just kind of more of a situation where SK, again, kind of outmatched. We saw a lot of Cassiopeia misfortunes in EU. I didn't necessarily see too many Cassiopeias in China, and we saw a few in NA, I think, but not to the level that EU was playing Cassiopeia for sure. Though Cassiopeia is also very strong into people like Zoe, I think. Even though she does go back with her portal, I think. Yeah, she goes back no matter what. You can put it where the portal was, and then she can't flash away or anything like that. And you could just probably get an instant stun on her, because I think she's always going to be facing forward when she comes out of the portal. So if you can time that properly. They did not really do that too well. Died 6 times. You had Trick also die 6 times on Jarvan, Yanko. This was just a much overall cleaner game by G2. They did start out with 2 deaths on the bot line, to be honest. Like, I was like, oh my god, it's happening again. They died like 6 times at the beginning of last game. This time was 2 times at the beginning of this one. But they never had the gold lead go more than... it never even eclipsed 1k gold lead. So it was kind of safe the whole time, especially because Xayah outscales Misfortune. Zoe has just disgusting poke options, where Cassiopeia still outscales really well. But Ornn and Aatrox kind of tied, Jarvan and Lee Sin both fall off. But mostly the bot lane outscales. Xayah Rakan is just so much stronger than Misfortune Leona after laning phase for the most part. I believe, at least, because Rakan can go in and get out. Leona does counter him pretty hard. But I think that pretty much G2 never had to start a fight. Like, they didn't have any real hard engage outside of Rakan. And they never had to start a fight, though, because his perks were just landing bubbles left and right. And That's why he had 15 assists. You only got 1 kill with it, but 15 assists. You land a bubble to start that team fight up, and it was just like an instant kill. I want to go back to Ryan saying that Yumi getting current percentage health bonus damage on her Q is a frightening concept. Oh, it is. It's back. It's not all the way back from the time. I'm telling you, I'm pretty sure. I don't have exact numbers, but I'm pretty sure me and my cousin, when it first came out, when you could teleport with each other, the Q slowed for 40%, so it was an instant grab on the E every single time for Swain, because you would literally just put a W behind the ADC. We'd communicate. I'd be like, okay, throw your Q now. And then I'd put the W behind the ADC. They have to go through the W, or they're going to get hit by the Yumi Q. If they did, they were still slowed by the W. Instantly root them because they would just be inside the range of the claw, and they're too slow to move out of the way, left or right, unless they burn flash. And then you grab them, you shotgun hands them, you get electrocute proc, because this was before Conqueror was broken on him, and then you'd kill them. And then you ult them with Yumi, because you get pulled in with the root, and then you get the Yumi ult, and if you don't have flash, you're automatically dead there, no matter what. So getting damage back on that, pretty happy. Pretty happy. It doesn't do nothing now, at least. And her healing skills with AP again. So my cousin's very excited that he gets to build AP just in general now for his Q damage and his healing. But yeah, that's Swain Yumi. I could talk Swain Yumi all day. All right, let me pull up here while we just finish the match history. Let me pull up play of the game. I don't have it on right away, but I'm going to grab it. I think that it was, who did I say it was? It was Excel versus SO4, right? No, I'm totally blanking. It was with Nor. What team is he on? Oh, well, we'll talk about the power rankings while I look that up. And we'll go back to that. Here's the LEC standings. 2-0 for Rogue, 2-0 for G2, 2-0 for Origin, 1-1 for SK, 1-1 for Excel. Yeah, he's on Excel. Duh. Okay, I gotcha. And 1-1 for Mad Lions, 1-1 for VAG, 0-2 for Vitality, 0-2 for SO4, and 0-2 for Misfits. Alright, now that I've remembered that he's on freaking Excel, all in my head was just Splice. And I'm like, nope, that's not it. It's not Splice. Alright, here we go, and look at, you'd be like, wow, you found that really quickly. And I'm like, yeah, I did. This is not the fight. I did not find the correct fight. And right here's the fight. 5 seconds back, and here we go. This is play of the week. And just watch how much damage Braum absorbs. Also, I still never know about sound. I'm always too nervous. There's a good pull there, but then Expect goes into his ult with Odoname. Oh my god, I messed his name up completely. But then instantly right here, they're going to go in on Patrick. Right there. But it's way too far. And then every bit of damage right here from Forgiven Abadonga. Just dead. Instantly. It didn't look as good as I remembered it. Not gonna lie. When I was watching that at work, it looked a lot better. All around, it was just a very good team fight. Because before that team fight, they were actually down. They were down 3k gold. I did not know that you guys were not watching that video. Whoops. We'll watch it one more time. Thanks, Idol. That's EU production, like always. But yes. The Ram goes right through because he's in the Ornalt, so that's no big deal. And then watch Gilius way overextend right here. His team is nowhere in range, just instant get kills by Patrick. And then they try to pile on Patrick here, but that Braum shield just blocks all the damage, and then right into a Yasuo ult, kills them all. Dreams pops off. Patrick gets a triple kill. GG all around. Patrick went 9-2-9. I was very impressed by his performance as well in that game as well. Sorry about not showing the video to start. Whoopsies. But yeah, now you saw it. It was a good win by Excel. Alright, let's talk power rankings. Power rankings here. Unfortunately, at all, I do not have Vitality in 10th. I have Misfits still in 10th. They did not. Misfits really didn't show anything to prove that they don't deserve to be in 10th place. But Vitality has dropped to 9th. Let's just say Vitality and Misfits are both as bad as it gets for professional teams. We don't have there's not a lot of good things on the Misfits and Vitality side there whatsoever. SK, like, I moved them up because I think I originally had SK as a 9th place team. They did win a game, which was good, but, like, it was against Vitality in a 50-minute back and forth game. I think, to me personally, I went into the season thinking there were 6 teams that were going to compete for playoff spots, which sounds kind of dumb because there's only 6 playoff spots, but it was true to me. I didn't think Excel, SK, Vitality, or Misfits were going to compete at all. I still hold that opinion about 3 of the teams. I still think SK, Vitality, and Misfits are going to get beat up by pretty much every single team in the league this year, and that's just the unfortunate reality for those teams. Next, though, is we have SO4 as number 7. They did go 0-2. I had them at number 5 coming in, but they lost their one game to Origin, which is okay, but losing the game to Excel was kind of shaky, especially because they have a very hard week this week. There is a very strong possibility that SO4 just drops and goes to a 0-4 situation here, which would cause SO4 0-4. But that kind of is not good, obviously. But let me just check real quick. What's week 3 on? Okay, and then they get a Misfits SK. So there is very good chance for them to bounce back after that. But you never want to start your season 0-4. But just for sure, like there's never a time where that is an acceptable situation. Especially bringing back Forgiven. Fans, I think, were pretty hyped on the team. I think they were going to be not necessarily a dark horse for sure. Like I consider Rogue, but like I think people thought they would actually compete in the LEC this year for a chance to make championship. And after the first game, it doesn't look like it too much. In the first week, I should say. Excel, they moved up. They actually looked really good. I guess you can't count on a Young Buck team because they actually looked much better. I think that Torre and Patrick looked like amazing on the bot lane. I thought that was just really impressive to watch. And I think that the rest of the team looked questionable still, which is why they're still only 6. They're not in the top 5. They're definitely only 6, but it's I can see that bot lane winning hard enough, and hopefully the rest of the map kind of gets it together a little bit better. But like I can see that bot lane winning enough matchups that they can actually carry and win a few games. It's at least against the teams below them. I think that they're very even with like SO4 and possibly Mad Lions. Like there's definitely a top 4 dogs in EU, and then 3 good, like 4 teams that are probably going to be great this year, 3 teams that are going to be good, and 3 teams that are just flat out terrible. And they're in the good to average section, which I think is fair to say. Mad Lions as well. They impressed me. I had them at 6 before. They moved up to 5. They impressed me with their performance against G2. They started out really strong early, and then just G2 became G2 and kind of beat them. And then they did end up winning their next game, which was against Misfits, I believe. But that's what was it? No, it was against Vitality. Same thing. It was against Vitality, which, I mean, again, you can't take a loss against G2 too hard. You can't take a win against Vitality or Rogue or Misfortune. What the heck? I'm having strokes. I'm pretty sure I'm having multiple strokes. You can't take a win against Misfits, not Misfortune. Too serious as well. And it wasn't even talking about Misfits. I was talking about Vitality. My brain is like fried, I think. Something's seriously wrong with me. It's probably the lack of sleep. That makes sense. Number 4 on the power rankings was Fnatic. Fnatic, they were number 2. They dropped down to number 4. I think that it's fair to say that you can maybe argue that they should drop lower because of how bad they played against Origin, and then they played against Misfits, and there wasn't really anything to see in that game either. And it was kind of worrisome to see how bad they performed against Origin, because they should be in the top 4 with Origin. Like, those games against Origin, Rogue, and G2 should be back and forth for Fnatic and their fans. Like, they really should be expecting the team to perform much better. Hopefully it was just like a game adjustment, because having to get adjusted to Selfmade compared to Broxa, where Broxa is a very selfless jungler. He kind of goes for his lanes all the time. Selfmade is a very selfish jungler, and like his name and titles, he absolutely came from SK, where he was pretty much the whole team, and what he did was what the team did. So it's kind of a complete different playstyle, and I'm wondering if Fnatic kind of needed to get a little more adjusted to it. Damn you, William. What'd I do? Rogue is number 3. I think that they performed great. I didn't move them up because they performed great against Misfits and Excel, where Origin did move up from 4 to 2 in my power rankings, because they looked great against Fnatic and SO4, which were 2 teams previously that I had above Misfits and Excel. And SO4 and Excel, to me, are really pretty much same team equal-wise. So then you have a win against Fnatic over a win against Misfits, and that's a win against Fnatic is much more important to me. It's a much bigger... It's just as bad of a blowout, too. It wasn't even like a close game. So Origin has jumped Rogue to number 2. Nothing against Rogue. Rogue is... You just... What? Rogue is... 3rd still. I think they're still a very, very strong team. You just made a credit card payment for $2,370 instead of $237. Do you not have anything like stopping that? Like, I mean, if you wanted to donate that kind of money to me, I'd appreciate it. No, that's way too much. I would absolutely never ask for that much money from somebody. That's way too much money. But yeah, in G2 versus Mad, G2 obviously is number 1. They beat Mad. They beat SK. Not too impressive. Actually, very sloppy against Mad, and a little bit sloppy against SK. A little bit sloppy against SK. But they're G2. They deserve the same thing as Team Liquid. They deserve benefit of the doubt. They're still number 1 until they're beaten, pretty much. Unless Rogue or Origin come up and beat them pretty handily, I think that they're going to stay at number 1. However, though, Origin and G2 face each other on the last game of the week, so we will see how that goes. Calling them good luck with that. Like, hopefully they should give it back. Credit card companies are usually pretty good at that. And then for calling out that mistake, you just donate the $2,000 to me, and then we're all good. Yeah, until they meet Origin. The big award for this week for EU was G2's Caps. It's like Caps, he was our eyes on, and he won the big award. I feel like we're very biased in this because it's happened a few times now. It happened in LPL, and then it happened in LEC as well. But he popped off. He went 18-5 or 18.5 KDA, a kill percentage. Kill participation of 84.8%, a damage percentage of 26.7%, and a DPM of 729 damage. Like, all those stats were by far some of the best in the game. Like Nor and Patrick were like up there as well, but like there was just undeniable the amount of stats that Caps had. He only died once all week, and I think Upset was up there, really close up there as well, because don't think Upset died. Upset also popped off a lot for Origin. But he just had slightly less kill participation, damage percentage, and DPM. He was lower in all the other 3 stats. Trash Player of the Week. Nope, that's not what it's called anymore. Sorry. Boomer Award. It's what it's called on my scenes, because we were going to do some SpongeBob references, but we changed it to Big and Boomer. The Boomer Award goes to Humanoid, which EU production here in NA is that I forgot to put the team logo in his name there. Sorry about that. But Humanoid for this had a KDA of 1.3, only a kill participation of 50%, which is not great for your mid laners. You really want your mid laners to participate a lot in a lot of kills, I feel like, right now. Mid jungle synergy is super important for pretty much roaming around the map together and everything. Kind of similar to what Fun Plus Phoenix kind of brought. I mean, they brought the support in there as well, but everyone kind of did mid jungle. But it's very important. He did actually have a damage percentage of 29.2 and a DPM of 500, which isn't bad by any means, but it's like, so those two numbers weren't terrible, but it was really him getting caught out and dying 8 times on Mordekaiser was very rough, and that actually kind of lost them the game when they, like, against, who were they against? Oh, SK. They just did not SK. Mad Lions, not Vitality. The yellow is killing me against G2. I think that he lost the game against G2. They had a 4K gold lead, and I think that he could have really, if he would have just performed a little bit better, I feel like they could have snowballed that gold lead enough. Where the rest of his team was popping off, he was really doing nothing against Perks and gave G2 an avenue back into the game. Oh my god. I don't know what is going on with me in the last, 30 minutes. Current week predictions. Let's talk predictions. All right, Rogue versus Origin. This is slightly off balance. There we go. Move Rogue up a little bit. There we go. Okay, that looks better. Rogue versus Origin. I think that this is a very... What a week. What a week, by the way. We have the number 2 and number 3 teams to start the week, and then the number 1 and number 2 teams to end the week. Origin as monster test. If they go 2-0 this week, they are absolutely deserving as the number 1 team in EU. Not even close. I do actually believe they will beat Rogue. Rogue has Hansama and Vander, where I think Upset and Destiny are slightly better, and I think that my biggest worry here is that these are just 2 very good teams, and I think Rogue kind of plays around a style of being very aggressive, and Origin also is not as... They're not as aggressive, like, say, with Nuke Duck, but they're very aggressive with Upset and Destiny, and that's where my key difference is here. I think that the aggressiveness of Hansama and Vander is they're going to be outclassed by Upset and Destiny, in my opinion, but they're not going to back down. And I think that's actually going to get Upset really, really fed. And I think that Alfari, as they're saying, Nuke Duck are just more than capable of keeping Upset protected. And then he's just going to, they're going to just almost protect the puppy type comp a little bit here. And Upset's just going to pop off. Oopsies. Yeah, Larson's also super aggressive. But I think that going Nuke Duck never feeds, in a sense. He loses gracefully most games. So I don't think Larson's going to be able to really keep the ball rolling or snowball off of Nuke Duck by any means. Next, we have SK versus Misfits. This is where you can just take a break from watching League. You don't have to watch this game. And I'm just going to straight up say that it's going to be SK because out of the 3 teams that probably have no chance of making playoffs, SK is the best one. You also have Origin Idol? Okay, that's good. Yeah, I think Origin's real good. I think adding Upset to Origin has made them a near Worlds contender. Yeah, SK versus Misfits, boring game. Maybe you'll get some more calls of Dan being done. That was my favorite call in the world. G2 versus Vitality, we can go next again. But man, the issue with EU having 3 bad teams is there's a lot of bad games going on. G2 versus Vitality should not be close. If G2 is Vitality, I'll be stunned. Mad versus Excel. This is actually a pretty good game. I actually like this one a lot. I think that this one is going to come down to who is going to win. I think that even though Patrick and the rest of Excel's kind of young, how old is K-Droll and Expect? I don't really know off the top of my head, but they do have young bucks, so they have a lot of experience. I feel in the coaching section. Mad Lions are a lot more younger with older players playing around Humanoid. My worry is that Humanoid had a very bad week last week, so he's going to come with something to prove this week. And going against Mickey is the perfect opportunity for him. I think that Karsi and Kaiser are pretty good. And I think that they match up well enough into Patrick and Torre. I think Patrick and Torre do win that matchup. We do have Shadow versus K-Droll. I think Shadow wins that, and Orme versus Expect. I think that's kind of a tie push there. So it's to me, it's going to come down to who is stronger. Is the Excel's bot lane going to carry the game, or is the mid jungle difference on Mad Lions going to carry the game? And personally, I always feel like mid jungle is slightly more important to the game, so that's why I went with Mad Ryans. Mad Lion. Look what you did to me, Mad Lions. You're going Excel, Ryan. Ryan went Mad Lions. Idol went Excel. Yeah, this is one of those games that I was talking about with like Vitality and SK. I just realized I don't have the webcam on this one. So, like, boop, there you go. Hello. But like we had Vitality SK last week, complete coin flip. This one again to me feels like a complete coin flip. It's either gonna go between the mid jungle or the bot lane. Oh, you think Carzzy has a slight edge over Patrick? I don't necessarily agree with that. I think it's just a slight edge for Patrick over Carzzy, which is like we're just nitpicking at this point. Like I'm like, you're like here, you're like here and here with Patrick being here and Carzzy being here, and I'm like here and here. Like it's so close. It's so close. I think Matt has the significant difference in the mid jungle though. Next we have SO4 versus Fnatic. Yeah, I'm with Idol. I believe, or Idol believes in Patrick. I'm with Idol on that, but I don't believe in Patrick to win the game. If that makes sense. But it could happen. This is one of those games that make trying to get 10 wins near impossible. You wish when you predict things, you wish every game was G2 versus Vitality, because that makes it very easy to predict. You wouldn't pick any upsets, and you'd go like 90% pick rate, because it's just going to happen 9 times out of 10. Fnatic versus SO4, this is going to be a very big proving game for both teams, I think. Fnatic lost badly to Origin. They look good against Misfits. Don't count that one. The Origin one scares me a lot. SO4 is a much better opponent than Misfits, but much worse than Origin. So you got to prove that you're above SO4 here, and that things are maybe a little more practice with Selfmade. I think Reckless even said himself that they were playing very scared, or I think he said specifically they played with like no balls or something like that on Twitch. And it's like, oh wow, but it was true. They're playing very scared, and hopefully TSM takes that as well. That's the advice. SO4 again. I think that, my opinion, I think the jungle difference between Gilius and Selfmade is going to be way too big of a difference to handle, and I think SO4 starts the season 0-3, which I do like SO4, but man, it's a rough start. That Excel loss really hurts them to start the year. Everyone always forgets about Mickey. What do you mean? Mickey's on Excel. I don't think Mickey's good at all. Misfits versus Excel. Jesus Christ. Not another game to watch. This one is an opening one. I think that it's totally fine with taking Excel though. I don't see Febivin. If you want Mickey to actually look good, like go against Febivin. Like Febivin he's there to retire. I feel like he looks so washed up since he's come back. He didn't look great. He looked great in NA for like 1 year. But like outside of that, I think that he's looked pretty washed up for the last 3 years or so. 2 or 3 years. He's not looked good at all. And then, yeah, I think that Excel in the bot lane, you're going to beat Misfits. Bavoy, he was okay in China for a backup. Like, he was okay. I don't know who Denny K. I don't even know the support. I don't even remember that name. Like, that's how irrelevant it is. Yeah, Misfits have not shown anything. Misfits look like the worst team in the West to me. Even worse than like Golden Guardians. Like, they're 20th if you pick between NA and EU. And Vitality's 19th. Mad versus SO4. How do you guys think this one? This one I think is also a very close game. This one and both Mad games I think are insanely close. Like very tough picks. actually the 2 toughest picks of the week, in my opinion. And that's including Origin over Rogue and Origin and G2. I think these are actually tougher. Because I think that between Mad, SO4, and Excel, they're all so tightly knit teams that anything can happen. Anything can happen in these games. I also agree. I'd all said Mad Lions, and I also agree with that. I did end up picking Mad Lions in this game because I'm still not convinced on Forgiven. I'm still not 100% convinced. And Gilius really makes me worried. Like a lot. Like a lot. And Shadow, I think this is going to be a phenomenal week for him going against Cadril and Gilius. I think that he popped off against like Yankos in game number 1. And he looked like the best player on Mad Lions in my opinion. And so seeing him against 2 very weaker junglers, I'm really excited to see how hard he can carry. Hopefully really well because I got him winning both games. I'm excited for this team. Like Mad Lions, them being completely like super aggressive, like a bunch of rookies around Humanoid, I'm pretty excited for him. This is one of my like low-key teams that I want to watch and want to succeed. Like one of the teams I'm rooting for the most in EU. Next, we have Rogue versus Vitality. Like every Vitality and Misfits game, unless they're playing each other, and unless they show anything else resembling any type of progress, I'm picking against them. Not hard. Not hard to do. Yeah. Idol and Ryan instantly just say Rogue. Move on. I think Fnatic, even though they beat SO4, I think this is another good matchup for them. I think that them against SK is actually going to help a lot. I think it's just a really good benefit for them to be facing 2 weaker teams instead of what they had to face against Origin. The issue I have with Fnatic, it's a good thing actually. They had the tough game against Origin. Then they've had like 3 kind of meh to okay games, and then against each other. Whoa, Idol has picked SK. Why is that, Idol? I'm very curious. But I think that SK is going to. They don't have Selfmade. I think Selfmade is going to take revenge on SK here. Personally, I think that I don't see Trick being able to handle this or Idol. Trick cannot handle Idol at all. Idol, you're a professional League of Legends player now. Oh wow. Oh, I didn't even realize, Ryan, that you had SO4 or Shulka. Yeah, Shulka. Yeah, I don't think I think Fnatic wins both those games. I'm totally confident in Fnatic in both. To be honest, I think the jungle difference for Selfmade. I think give Fnatic an extra week of practice. And the thing that's good that I was gonna say is that they're facing much weaker teams right now for week 2, and then they face Excel again. That is like 4 weak games in a row that they get to play to just like kind of build synergy with Selfmade and get used to the more selfish jungler compared to the selflessness of Broxah. So I think that helps big time. Like the fact that they have G2 after that, they're probably going to lose that game, but then they get Vitality as a reward. And then, so outside of, like, if you throw away the G2 game, just assume that's a loss. They don't have a tough game until February 15th, which is a lot of time. That gives them almost 3 full weeks of practice. And I think from that point on, they need to show up against G2. In the second round robin, they need to show up against G2 and Origin, in my opinion, and Rogue. But if they don't, we will find out big time because in week 5 they face Rogue and Origin again. So that's their test. That's my circle the dates of the 21st and 22nd. Fnatic kind of should cruise through everything until then. And if they don't win any games that game, then they're no longer an elite team in EU for this split. All right, finally, game of the week, most likely, for sure. Origin versus G2. I actually did not have as much trouble with this game as I did with Mad versus Excel and Mad versus Shulka. I think those 2 games are much harder to predict for me. I think that we're going to have a very similar situation as Team Liquid versus Cloud9. G2's looked very, very sloppy again in the early game, and I think that Origin is going to capitalize on that, kind of like Mad Lions did, but I don't think Origin's going to throw as hard as Mad Lions did. I think they have a solid base built around them, and Idol also has Origin. I am also going to go Origin. I think Origin comes in, wins both games against Rogue and G2, and solidifies himself as the best team in Europe right now. G2 will be super... You say G2 will be super tryharding, but I feel like we can never tell with G2. With G2, I feel like there's never a point of super tryhard, even in playoff. I don't think G2 and super tryhard exist in the same sentence. I don't think that's a real sentence. This will be the fall. I know you did have to eat your words a little bit there. You said that Caps was going to be really bad on AEC, and you were very upset with me for putting him as my eyes on player last week, and he did very, very well. Yeah, but I think Upset is going to do very strong into Caps. I'm on board with you. I think Caps kind of got away with it against it was Karzi's first game on Mad Lions, and he did pretty well there. And against SK, I mean, hell, he's going against Crown Shot. That's not the biggest matchup. yeah, Ryan. Yeah, Caps popped off last week, for sure. He absolutely popped off last week. But I'm very curious to see. And he's going to have another easy matchup against Comp, which I think Comp is pretty good, but Jack Troll is not so much. I think this is going to be it's going to be Cap's first real test against a real bot lane. And I think they're going to lose because of that. I think it'll be this is going to be a very important game for G2 as well, because if they do beat Patrick and they beat Origin and not Patrick, they beat Upset and Destiny, then we're looking at G2 obviously being the uncontested first place. Like, because right now I see Rogue or Origin could make a run for first place, but if G2 comes in and beats Origin, I don't see any team making a run for first place. That's just for like early. Like, my prediction's still probably G2 wins and goes to MSI, but we'll see. Oh yeah, easily match of the week. Ryan said far and away, absolutely. Looking forward to this match the most. Hopefully I don't work on Saturday. Saturday is the last possible mandatory day. That sounds like a contradiction, but like we have to work as an accountant for year end, and like we have a year end audit every year, so like we have to work Saturdays all throughout January, but they did include February 1st. This Saturday still counts, so it's possible, but I really haven't had much work to do. We're kind of wrapped up pretty much all the way, so hopefully I don't have to come in. I really hope so, because I think that's what's been killing me, is I've been staying up late with podcasts again and watching League, editing stuff, like just the thumbnails and stuff like that, and then like I've been working 6 days a week, which kind of sucks. Idol said he wishes NA was this easy to pick. Same, man. Absolutely. NA is so difficult to pick. I might know the most about NA League, but man, it is so difficult to predict. It's so tough. All right. Finally, before we wrap up, our player to watch out for, our eyes on for the week, is Upset. I really think I didn't put his name there. Crap. But yeah, Upset, I think, is going to have the phenomenal week. I said, like, he's going to look and just beat Caps, like I was talking about before. I think that's going to pretty much prove that he's the current best ADC in EU, which is what I believed in the offseason. When I guess I kind of had perks above him, but that was mostly because Xayah was just so broken. But Upset was right there, and I really think that he's going to prove that he is the best pickup for all teams in the offseason this year. I'd all want to know if there's any upsets on else. Okay, so yeah, Upset I think is the eyes on the week. So far we haven't cursed anyone. Hopefully that continues. But yes, LCK will start as scheduled. They will not have a crowd, which is exactly what I just read. I said that, and then I looked on, and Ryan exactly answered your question for you. But yeah, they will not have a crowd, but they will start as scheduled. The PC, I know, guys, I know you really want to know about the PCS. The PCS has also been postponed. If you don't even know what the PCS is, it's the LMS and whatever. I can't even think of the other region with Mega. But yeah, that's been postponed as well. as the LPL is still postponed. LCK will continue as scheduled. I haven't heard about Vietnam yet, personally. I thought you were talking. You were talking about the gaming console. No one wants to care about. No one cares about the PCS. I care about the PCS. I want to see. I want to see how some of those teams do against LMS teams. But yeah, for the most part, that will be that will be it for this week's podcast. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and we will see you next or tomorrow for the wildcard podcast. We're going to talk about Brazil. I believe Japan, I think, starts. I know Oceania starts. Oh, the OPL starts. Japan does not. It's going to be. Is it Turkey? There's three regions. I know it's Vietnam, Turkey, Brazil, and OPL. They're going to be the regions we talk about next week. Hopefully, I do a little bit better on my predictions as well. Anyway, that's all for tonight. See you guys tomorrow. Thanks for coming, Idol and Ryan. I appreciate your guys' conversations.